give me an idea of, do most establishments have kind of the same business model? Like, how does it work for? Are you paying them to be there, or is it just more, hey, you show up and then you have to give us a certain amount of the proceeds of whatever you earn? How does that work?
It works. I'll say this real quick. I won't play a place where I have to pay. I'm kind of beyond that now. And
so it's a bonus for them no matter what, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, you got to go where you have to draw the line somewhere, kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to go in the hole just to play your place. Like, I can make more on the streets at that time, kind of thing. What happens if I'm interested in a place, if it's local and drivable, go there. Say, put a face to the name. Everyone's messaging and texting and emailing now. If they can be like, hey, this weird cowboy guy came in a weird Hawaiian shirt and says he wants to play here, And then business cards. Business cards are so big. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so important because it shows, and the website is huge. It shows a level of professionalism. Mm-hmm. If I'm like, because they always ask me, hey, write your name down on this. I'm like, well, I got a card for you. And actually, it's got my contact information on the back. And if you go to my website, it has more about me, kind of what songs I play, videos of me, my current schedule, everything. Mm-hmm. And then you can contact me through Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, like giving them the ball in their court. It shows something more than just, hey, can I play here? Like, sure. I don't know. There has to be a level of professionalism. I know I dress funky and all that. It's an image thing too, sure. But I also like to be weird.
You're branding yourself.
Yeah.
Because people will remember that. The guy came in, he had a cowboy hat on and a Hawaiian hat.
Yeah.
Or cowboy hat and a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and then you go in there, okay, you try and talk to the person. What dates do you have available? I usually throw the ball in the court, and I'll say it's completely live and all that. There's some places I play $100 an hour. It's killer. Some places I play $50 to $25, And then
you also have a tip bucket out?
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. I try to work with an establishment because, okay, the bar and grill that gets 100 people a night, they can afford more stuff. The little dive bar down the street that only may have 10 or 15 patrons, but they would love to have some music, can't afford to pay $100 an hour. And that's why I tell them, I just tell them some places I get 100, some places I get 50. What works for your guys in your establishment? Because I'd love to play here. Because it's honest, I'd love to bring music to where you guys are at, So can we find some common ground? And usually that shows me trying to work with them too, And then tip bucket, I always have a tip bucket. And you never know, man. It's like you go to there's some places I've played where it's like, man, I'm playing 3 hours for $100. But then people just come in with the tips. They're so happy. And then you end up making double what you came in for. So you just don't know. Like, I'd rather just be working, and just leave it up to the fact of not all jobs. I mean, even doing renovation or flooring or whatever, not every job is a $10,000 job. Sometimes you're just fixing a patch in the carpet or, and you got to do that. But it may lead to something else. You don't know. So-and-so, Bobby Joe saw you in the crowd. Hey, can you do a private party? We'll pay you $400 to come play on a Sunday for our kid's birthday. Just play country music. So just constantly being out there, constantly posting, constantly writing, constantly performing, constantly learning new songs. Just constant working, It's work. That's what I heard a lot too. Is like, you have to treat it like a job. It's not just, because in the beginning when I started doing this full time, I will not lie. When I had my cabin in Wyoming and I just started doing this and I realized I could pay my bills, I was smoking weed and playing Halo and eating pepperoni pizza and just drinking Coors.
Wow.
It was that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it gets to a point, it's like, okay, do you want to burn out like that? Like, is that what people are supporting you to do? Like, no. Is that honoring to God?
Is that sustainable?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think some people too, and I know I had this for a minute. It's like you feel that you have to live a certain way to write a certain way. Or, I'm a musician, so that means I have to be wild and get in trouble all the time. Like, no, if I get on probation for getting caught with weed, that's going to destroy my life right now. Mm-hmm. And that's...
It limits your options down the road, too.
If I get a DUI right now, I guess my wife is driving me. You think she wants to do that all the time? It's like...
Yeah.
you have to be wise. You have to treat it like a job. And
let me ask you this: the progression of, so right now you're going to, you prefer the street corner. I know you feel very comfortable there. You're going into establishments. When you go on the tour of Wyoming or Alabama, same thing, right? Touring establishments. If you want to go to a different level, is the next level, or you've probably done some openings for other bands, and then ultimately, do you want to sell out a concert hall and an arena? Is that the path? Is that the natural progression? And then it's just a matter of, in order to do that, of course, there has to be a following. There has to be, tickets sold and all that kind of stuff. Can you talk me through that?
I don't want to say I don't want to play cover gigs anymore, because I love cover songs. Sometimes more than my songs, like, honestly. But I would appreciate to get to the point, and I don't necessarily know how to do this. That's kind of where I get a little stuck. I want people to listen to my music. Yeah. I do. I didn't write it for just me. Mm-hmm. And I know I've got some good songs. I know I do. They're not all good. No. They're not for everyone. But I know that some of them are very good. And I've always looked at myself as a miner. Like, I go out and I go into the ground and I get the raw material. Like, if you took some of these songs in a studio and made them pretty and maybe got a different singer, whatever, but they would be gorgeous. They mm-hmm. could. I mean, an uncut diamond ain't very pretty, mm-hmm. but that's my job, but I love this troubadour kind of thing. Like, and I don't know, I'll be honest with you, Troy, like, I read a lot of these books too of the super famous when they're at that level. I don't think it's all that's cracked up to be. I think it would put a lot of strain on my marriage. I don't know if necessarily I could handle it to an extent. And so there's that portion.
Yeah, and I think there's the kind of it's other people, you're pleasing the other people, right? Because you get to a certain level, and you've got sponsors, you got commitments, and I would just imagine those bands probably feel the best just when they're playing and they're away from all of the things they have to do in a given day. Oh, you got to do a commercial, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, I just want to play music. Yeah, I just want to go back to my roots.
And that's what I love about doing it independent, like we're doing, is we have the freedom to decide. Mm-hmm. Like, do you want to go see your mom? Like for December, we're trying to plan a little California trip to, like, go see my grandparents. And it's like, we don't have to worry about asking for time off or what obligations, having an agent be like, I need you here. Like, you can't. No, you have interviews and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we are still at the point where we're not under anyone's thumb. Mm-hmm. Are we smaller? Are we super well known? No. I mean, but it's fine. Like, I'd rather be at this point where I'm good with the Lord, I'm good with my wife, I'm good with my family, I can spend time with them. Like, I can pick where I want to go. I can walk down the street. I don't know if I'd want. You can't be normal. Like Morgan Wallen. Like, I don't know if it would cause an uproar if he was walking down downtown Huntsville. Sure. Like, there'd be a post on what's happening in Huntsville, and everyone would be down there. You know what I mean? It's like, if the dude's just trying to stinking eat some fiddle fries at Voodoo, and he can't do that. But I had a friend say this to me, and he's like, people may not realize the quality of your songs until you're gone. It happened with Robert Johnson. Mm-hmm. He was long gone. Someone found his stuff, and then he was dead, and the folk revival came around, and they're like, wow, this guy's immense. And he was an influence for Eric Clapton. And Eric Clapton was confused and intimidated by hearing him because he thought it was two guitars playing at once. Really? And it's like, and he still has that effect. That man died at 27. And he still has that lasting effect. I think I don't know. Yeah. I'm just called to be faithful for what I have in front of me, kind of thing. And do I want to be doing? I don't know. I'm pretty happy because you know what? At the heart of it, I started on the corners and streets and stuff, and that's where I really love it. And I love the relaxedness of it. And I mean, maybe that's shooting too low or something. I don't feel that I'm a bad musician. I think I write great songs, and I think I'm a great performer. And all that jazz.
Yeah.
But I know what I like too. It's like, was it wrong for a mom and pop restaurant, even though they got killer burgers and killer corn dogs, not to go public with their stock and be like a McDonald's?
Yeah.
It's just kind of depends on what you want.
Well, you in the story that we touched on a little bit, right? There were some dark periods of your life. You've emerged from that, right? And you enjoyed music all along, and you're writing songs, and it's always very sad when we see, let's say, those that struggled, they started writing music, they blew up, and then they're still struggling with with cocaine and overdoses, right? How many people have overdosed or died? I don't know why Sinead O'Connor died, but she died yesterday, apparently.
I saw that, yeah.
I get to look at it, but it's like, oh man, really? Like, gosh, only 56 years old. What happened? And so it's not, that doesn't necessarily bring happiness that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Right? It's these high levels of fame and money and everything, right? So it's the goal is always balance. How do I stay balanced? How do I stay grounded? How do I keep those who love me in life close to me and not lose family, right? You almost seeming like, I don't want to say you lost your family earlier, right? But you certainly put some strain on them, on mom and dad, and you've written about that and talked about that, where that's just that constant thing, right? Whether you're making no money or you're millions upon millions, there's still the same struggles.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you might have a niche in a way that you can have a living at that. Right. This town is not, if you decide to stay here, it's not slowing down. They're going to just keep building more and more restaurants and more patios. Hook you up with Valentina's Pizzeria. They're building a new.
Yeah. My wife loves pizza.
Have you been to Valentina's?
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's out here, and he's building a new restaurant where there's going to be a nice patio for live music. And
cool.
Obviously, if that's what you want to do, and it helps you continue to have that balance, why not?
Yeah. Right.
And I guess the trick is always to not go listen to the naysayers or the people trying to give you advice, right? Like
it's
on what's going on in Tim's head.
And that's tough too, because it's like my family is very normal in that sense. So, and I've been like just the wild child, I guess. So it's hard to communicate with people that aren't doing it, kind of thing, like in that sense.
Sure.
Entrepreneurs and stuff, I think we have pretty common ground and stuff, like understanding, like, okay, it doesn't matter the product, it's kind of the same format kind of thing. But music, it's interesting. Like, and my parents want stability, especially as a married man now too, and I understand that completely because she's my priority. And but man, I just want so little in life, and it's like I'd sacrifice everything of mine for her, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's just.
Now, jumping ahead a little bit, do you plan to have children?
No, not as of right now.
Okay,
Lord willing.
But if you do,
I'm not entirely against it. It just brings on an entirely different dynamic to our marriage and how our life will probably look. Mm-hmm. And so, not necessarily looking for children. I gave it to her. I'm like, you want kids? Whatever you want. So, but as of right now, we're on the same page. So
let's hear another song, man.
Cool.
When we were talking about songs that some of your hot original. I like the gospel. Is it the yodel? I was listening to some of your stuff.
I have a buddy in Susanville that he's like, yeah, man, I played that song so much, I got it to the top on Spotify for you. I can't even play it right now. Like,
what about the one that's titled? It's like CAY. That's California, Wyoming, Alabama. Basically, all those abbreviations slammed together. Kawaii.
That's the album name.
That's the album name.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't pick one.
Yeah, sure.
Tell me what you. Yeah.
Me too. I'll do this one off my new album real quick. It's called Why You Standing by the Door. Checkaroo. Why is there a suitcase in your hands? Why is there a letter with my name on your nightstands? Why are there teardrops on the floor? Why you standing by the door? Babe, why are you starting to cry? Why is your car loaded with all your things outside? Babe, don't you love me anymore? Why you standing by the door? Why you standing by the door? Why are all your teardrops falling on the floor? Babe, don't you love me anymore? Why you standing by the door? Come on. Babe, why won't you look me in the eyes? Why are you telling me goodbye? Did I hear you say the word divorce? Why you standing by the door? Why you standing by the door? Why are all your teardrops falling on the floor? Babe, don't you love me anymore? Why you standing by the door?
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Is there a range of your voice that you've really had to kind of work on?
Oh yeah, it's the blues. I'm getting really back into like the rock and blues kind of like, and just like it's like this note real quick. I'll play it real fast.
Okay.
It's gonna be loud. Sorry.
It's all right.
See if I can hit it this early. Baby, like just kind of this loud. Because I'm writing for the streets now too. Because it's like you don't have, for me to be on the corner and be like, no one can hear me across the street.
You gotta belt it out.
You know, like you got to be. And then if you give things a good beat, that's what I learned from Hank Williams. It's like you can have a sad song, but if you make the you can have like sad lyrics and stuff, but if you give it that like mention it tonight down here in the valley, I'm lonesome and oh how I feel, but it's still got that boom. People can still dance to it. You know what I mean?
Folsom Prison Blues or something, right?
It's still. You can have a really sad, painted song that's lyrically pretty, but then it still can have a good beat on it. Like,
people are still tapping their foot. Let's I want to pull up your poetry.
Okay.
And I think this one, I'm assuming it has to do with Katie. Maybe.
It depends on which one.
Let's see. The one called Love the Most.
I love this. Yeah.
Is that her? Is that about her?
Yeah.
I've seen the Rocky Mountains and the California coast, but your tender smile is what I love the most. From the top of your head down to your toes, your perfect form is what I love the most. Have you read this to her?
Yeah.
I mean, she's read your website. Yeah. Oh, you wrote into a song too?
Yeah.
There's no higher achievement and no greater boast. Being your man is what I love the most. You know, I also pulled this up because, you know, you're one that school was not an easy thing for you or something that you were interested in. I shouldn't say easy, interested in, really, right?
Yes.
But yet you're a good writer.
Thank you.
Poetry, right? And it's so sometimes those things are not indicative of what someone can or can't accomplish in life. And you probably met some of that criticism along the way, or people doubting you, and hey, you should go to college, or do this or do that. And I've always found it very interesting the people that it's just a part of them. They're good writers. Obviously, you're a songwriter, but you write a blog to just kind of enjoy that, whether that's somewhat therapeutic to kind of get it out and get it on paper, if that helps generate ideas.
I love writing. Like I remember when I was in elementary school, I had this like comic book I did. It was like The Adventures of Tarny. And I don't know what he was. I think he was, and then there was like the Bob the Hot Dog or something. So it's like, I always had this like creative thing, and I like horror a lot too. Like I used to write like horror stories, and that just came from scary stories to tell in the dark that I got in like the Scholastic book fairs. Like they're just these collections amazing little horror stories, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a thing for horror. And Lord willing, it's like even if like my ears got taken away and I couldn't do music, I think I like writing. I think more than music.
Really?
Yeah. There's something about, and I have to be alone to do it. And the only other person I could ever really write with was Ryan Freitas, and like we had this weird kind of connection. Like it was just we understood. He complimented me so well. Like I'd be so. I mean, he said it like I was like the pretty Paul McCartney, and then he was the John Lennon that came in with the edge kind of thing. But yeah, I need like silence. Like if I'm writing, and my wife gets home, it's like I have to stop, or I have to go somewhere else. Like because I can't have these little like noises around or something. I don't know. It's like.
Now, have you gone through periods of writer's block, or just
Yeah.
periods where I think you even wrote something recently where you were saying, I've been spending too much time on my covers and not enough on my own original music and stuff like that.
Because I love learning covers. It's just so much fun. Like lately I've been working on a System of a Down song and like Red Hot Chili Peppers and just like being like broadening my horizon. So I'm like, there's a lot of music I can do, you know? I just haven't done it. So it's like, so that's been fun. But okay, I was getting my tires rotated this week, and that most recent song I posted on Facebook, that Searching for Neon, I was reading my Jerry Lee Lewis book, and at the end of one of the chapters, he said that he went out after this drama and he was searching for neon. I'm like, is that a song title? So I search it. It's not a song title. There's Chasing That Neon Rainbow, Alan Jackson, but I mean tons of other songs, neon, but there wasn't that. And so I'm like, let me see. That's a good title. Like sometimes it doesn't matter how you feel. Like sometimes I don't feel like writing. I need to write. Like it's not like, oh, I didn't get sometimes things hit and you're like, okay, that needs to be done kind of thing. Like I had this big long poem. I think it's on the website too, The Bear. And then that one, I knew I had to write this one for like 3 years. Like it's just been gnawing on me.
There
like,
it is.
Yeah, and it's some long, just wordy story. It's like I didn't know how. It's like painting. Like I didn't know what colors I was going to use, but I knew the image I had to do, and then so that, and I really do believe it all just comes from God. Like it's like it's like a splinter thing. Like you need to do this. You need to do this. Like, and I was like, no, I'll do it eventually. But anytime it came to writing, it's like I'd write everything else that I was wanting to write, but then it's like that came back. But then this last one, it's like I need to write something. So, and it turned into being something I really enjoy. Truthfully, like it may not be one of my absolute greatest hits or whatever, but I like the song, and it's like it keeps that muscle working. Because I remember hearing from a lady too, you don't use it, you lose it, kind of thing. Yeah. So it just goes back to that being. You have to be working all the time on it too, even when you don't want to do it. Even when I don't feel like playing 9 to 1 a.m., like I still need to go play, and I still need to write, I still need to practice, even though I'm tired or blah, 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 like excuses. Like that's not, I can't maintain my life or get to the places I want to be through being lazy.
Yeah.
Like it.
You mentioned Chili Peppers. I'll tell you, so Rick Rubin, he was helping them with Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic.
Yeah.
And Under the Bridge at the time was not on the album. And so they thought that it was a wrap and like, nah, I think we still need like one more song. And so he went to Anthony Kiedis. And the whole story about how they formed is fascinating. I love listening to, like I would love to listen to your biography one day, right? If I obviously didn't have a chance to interview you, I love learning about how bands form. But like Anthony, it was Flea and the others. And Anthony was just their friend. And then I guess somebody suggested, like, well, why don't you let Anthony sing? I'm like, no, he's not really good, whatever. And they had a gig and they let him sing, and like the rest is history. Yeah. Can you believe it? So as a songwriter, he was kind of doing that same thing where he had a lot of things, a lot of poetry, and had written Under the Bridge. And so Rick was asking, like, hey, do you guys have anything else? Like, we really need something else, for this album. And he's like, well, I got this poem thing. He's like, read it to me. So he reads it, and he's like, that's your hit. That's actually going to be your number one hit. He's like, seriously? He's like, yeah, so let's work on that. And they put it together.
It's so weird.
It was just a poem that was just, that was just stuck in his notebook and just happened to prompt him to bring it out. Let's do this. Let's play I want you to know I want to clip this. Like after you leave today, at some point today, I want to put this on social media. Pick the song that you want as it goes out in clip form today. Let's do that.
Cool.
It may be some of the other ones we've done. It could be original or a cover, but just I'll preface that of like, okay, let's do a clip. What song are you gonna play for it?
Always do this one.
And I'm gonna change the camera, of course.
I love these blue walls. My wife would love these too. She loves blue.
They used to be gray.
Yeah?
And the only reason they were gray was because you can also shine like an RGB light onto gray and like change it. But then I was like, you know what? I just like blue. So I just painted them blue.
It's great. I'm going to do this one. It's called Reckless and Free. And I wrote it when my parents grounded me when I was still 17. So. Fleeing Carson City, going 90 headed east. $100,000 resting in my backseat, oh Lord. The cops are on my trail, but they'll never catch me. I'm tearing up the road in my Mustang GT. Flying high, never die, no, no. Reckless and free, never catch me. Yeah. I just wanted the money, didn't want to cause harm. That hero of a teller went and pulled the alarm. My anger took me over, I was seeing red. I turned the gun on him and shot him down dead. Flying high, never die, no, no. Reckless and free, never catch me. What's that? Up above, looks like a helicopter. What's that? Up ahead, looks like a roadblock. I can't go back to the pen. So I slam my foot down on the gas. I gotta try and make it past. Flying high, never die, no, no. Reckless and free, never catch me.
Awesome. You wrote that when you were 17?
Yeah.
Why'd you choose Carson City?
Because I was close to Reno, Nevada. We're close over there.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Do you ever, I was thinking on that one note, were you thinking ever about going higher if you could go higher?
On
that free and free, on the free. And then
Reckless and free.
Yeah.
They're a little Yoda in there.
I was expecting you to do that, like to some degree, but that's awesome, man.
Thank you very much.
So, how many songs like right now are kind of spinning in your head that you're looking to write?
I got one right now. It's kind of about like sacrifice or something. It's like you can sacrifice. It takes sacrifice to be good, but then it's like if, say, you're just crazy into drugs or alcohol, like you sacrifice for the momentary pleasure of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It might be just some wordy poem thing, but
that's a lot of where they all start, right?
Yeah, it's like I usually get a song title or an idea, and then it goes from there. Most of the time for me, lyrics come first. It's pretty rare. More my like rock and roll and blues songs. If I'm doing something high energy, it's like I'll find something where I'm like, okay, that's a good groove, and then I'll just paint words around it. I don't know, rock and roll.
How hard is it to, like, when you're coming up with a tune? And I'm sorry, I don't always understand the difference between
Yeah.
tunes and melodies and harmony and stuff like that.
Neither do I. I'll be honest. So.
But it just seems like, you know, it's one thing you mentioned earlier to like, I wonder if this song title exists. Go search it. No, it doesn't. But just in general, like, just is it hard to create a new rhythm, a new tune, if you will, to a song, or do you sometimes get stuck in those that you've come up with in the past, or something that's similar in a cover? And I don't know. I mean, I guess there's possible it could be very, very similar to something that exists, but at the same time, you probably can't need to worry about that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun,
Right.
to an extent. I can get in a certain mode of like chord changes where it's like, no, that's too similar to the last one on that other album, but you can't, especially with how much music I think musicians absorb. I don't think you're ever going to find anything that's like 100% like this has never been done before.
Yeah.
Like there's too much music at that point. Like if you don't remember it, someone else has done it. You know what I mean? Like you don't want it to be a complete ripoff. Like I have a song Heartache Express that literally came to me in a dream. Dolly Parton's got a song that's that title, or other people have it, but I'm like, well, mine's gonna be different. I listen to theirs and I'm like, well, it doesn't sound anything like it. Sorry, we got the same title, you know. But you don't want to melodies and stuff like in chords. Like when they talk about copyright, you can't copyright a chord change. Like that's what kind of happened with the whole Ed Sheeran and the Marvin Gaye song a little bit. Very similar, but different enough kind of thing. Like, it's inevitable you have certain songs that like, oh, that kind of sounds like that at that one part. But it's like, okay, we'll do something different in the chorus where it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, now that's different. Words, I would say, you don't want to be verbatim with anyone with words, I think. Like, that's where you kind of get real tricky with it. But, I mean, how many words rhyme with love? You know?
Yeah.
So, above and rough and whatever.
Dove.
Yeah. So, it's just...
Well, and my hat's off to musicians. I mean, it's just amazing to me. It's one thing to come up with it, but it's another just if you're playing a set to remember all your lyrics.
Oh, I fudge them. My wife, it's so funny too because like my wife has been to enough shows now. Any deviance, and I don't even know if that's the right word.
Oh, she'll get you.
Oh, she'll be on her phone and then she'll just give me this like I'm gonna look at the camera. You know, and or like whiskey glasses. I mess up on that Morgan Wallen song. I say something wrong in it, and she gets so mad. I'm like, I remember 400 songs. I'm like, I get the idea of it out. You know what I mean? So sorry I say, or what was it? Jack Johnson, Banana Pancakes. She's like, You're supposed to say ain't right there. I'm like, what's the matter? It means the same thing, you know? But yeah,
there's this composer that we like. His name's Howard Harper Barnes.
Uh-huh.
And he has this song, and it's mostly instrumental. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this the opening to Downton Abbey? And then there's a slight change. So I start Googling, and of course there's all this controversy and the guy stole it, whatever, but it's different.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's different. And even if, you know, obviously there's no words, there's no lyrics, so it's all about studying the instrumental part. But it was like one of the first times I'm like, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
Like almost exactly, but there's just a little bit of a nuance.
Mm-hmm.
What about any other thing on covers that you love covers? It sounds like, or
love them.
Maybe it comes and goes in passion, right? As far as songwriting and doing covers, but any others that you're exploring? And you talked a little bit about genres and trying out different genres.
Like, I gotta give me some Elton John.
Elton John,
yeah,
piano.
like
Rocket Man.
I used to do that when I was 18. I had a buddy, Reckless Rooster. He does a killer cover of it too over in Wyoming. Just trying to be diverse. Like I try not to get. It's so funny because I wanted to talk about this too. What I do, I stereotype a lot because I have to read people and make a split-second decision of someone walking down the street. Like what? It's like fishing. It's
what do they want to hear?
If you're 50 something and you just kind of look like a normal person from your dress, I think you'll like Take It Easy by Eagles. You know what I mean? Like it's like a red worm. Most people like that kind of thing. If you're wearing kind of loud stuff and maybe like an alternative band or whatever, you know, you got some like flair to you a little bit. And you're younger, probably like 20s, 30s or something. I'd probably throw out a Red Hot Chili Peppers song and you'd be like, okay, if you're a girl and you maybe kind of look like not, I don't mean to be mean at all, like a Valley Girl at all or something, like if I throw out Zach Bryan's Something in the Orange, one of the most popular songs in the nation right now, you might bite and be like, you know? So there's a level of that I have to do, but I've been dead wrong. I've been out to places where it's bikers and stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just doing classic country all night, you know? And even they're like, hey, man, play something different. And you're like, okay, fine, you know? Or it's just, it's just cool. It's like fishing to me. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you have your ones that are like, all right, Folsom Prison, you know? Like, or Mary Jane's Last Dance, Wagon Wheel, you know? Everyone knows those. But, like, the fun thing is finding those songs that are super good that everyone likes, that, like, common ground that are rare. More rare, kind of like what's been killing right now is what was it? Tom Petty. No, I won't back down.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, cool, this is a good song. You know what I mean? or
that from Wildflowers.
I don't know.
That's a good album.
I'm just getting to my Tom Petty right now. Like that's one area I've slacked on. Or what one's killing it with the bar scene is have you ever heard Midland Drinking Problem? People say I got a drinking problem. That ain't no reason to stop, you know?
Yeah.
And people are like, dude, that is a good song, you know? And then just doing those, and it's just, it's fun finding those, you know what I mean? And being like, they didn't work as good as I thought.
Let me give you a Tom Petty recommendation that would be right up your alley. You're So Bad.
You're So Bad?
Listen to that.
I'll check that one out.
I think you would do really well with that one.
I'll check it out.
Maybe we can listen to it afterwards.
I'm down, yeah.
I could play it now. No, I can't. I have to set it up. You would love that
for sure.
Does your dad, who's a little older than me, does he ever comment that the best age of music was like when there were records and tapes where you physically bought music? Or does anybody? Because I feel like I was thinking about you coming over, right? And I was, I'm trying to do research and find stuff that you've done. And it's just always harder digitally, whether it's Spotify or YouTube, and then of course the algorithm wants me to see something else. Like no, I just want to stay on Tim Knecht, right? Versus just I wish I was a little older to have bought records.
Yeah,
I have records, and my younger brother's really into vintage records and things, but because there was like the artist got to do a lot with their fan, like put a poster in there or bumper sticker or stickers, and then there was just and then when tapes came out, like my mind is, because that's the era I grew up in, side A, side B, and like I knew songs better, like what album they were tied to, and the order that they would put them in. Usually the ones that like was 3 or 4 were their real hits. Like number 1 song was always good on side A, but like you get to like 3 and 4, those are like the big hits. Yeah, and then B side was maybe there was like one decent song. Mm-hmm. My mind just works that way, and I miss, or even looking at your artwork. There's a picture of you in a cowboy hat as a kid on one of your albums. Yeah, sitting on a fence or something like that. Like that, I miss kind of tangibly having that or looking at that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
The goal is to get. I like physical stuff. People don't. I mean, they're like, everything's digital now. I still sell CDs. I mean, not as much recently, because I haven't been pushing them as much, but whenever I sold them, I still had people that were like family, friends, fans kind of thing. They'd buy them and I'd ship them out. And so I might just keep it small time for like the people that want it. Maybe do 100 CDs or something. Like to me, when I sold my first 100, I felt like Elvis Presley, man. I did. I was like, people bought my CDs. Like, that's awesome.
That's cool.
So now it's like I want to get them to the point where I have the last few albums, the new album.
Purposely misspelled. I love that.
Yeah.
Album.
New album. What is that other one? Way of the World, Polishing the Past, and Kawhi.
Yeah, Polishing the Past.
Those 4, I think, like I tell my wife, I could die right now and I feel fully represented musically. Like, I think people understand what I was about. I have some songs, but like I'm still alive, so I keep writing, But if I had copies of those 4, I'd feel very good about like.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to tell anyone to listen to my stuff, I'd say start with new album, go Way of the World, Polishing the Past. Polishing the Past is my oldest stuff, like that I was really just. I mean, when I first started writing, like 18 years old, 11 years ago or whatever, and they just had to polish them up. You know what I mean? I used to sing them really high and sing them a little lower, that kind of thing. But I like those. But I like the physical stuff. I still listen to CDs. I still buy CDs.
That's cool.
And right now, I just destroyed my tape or whatever deck I have in my stupid car because it quit working. My aux cord quit working, so I'm down to radio and CDs right now.
Gotcha.
So, and sometimes I'm driving places I don't have service, and sometimes my downloaded stuff on Spotify doesn't work.
Right.
And a CD is just kind of
sure
comforting. Like I listen to.
It's a failsafe.
Yeah, I listen to Townes Van Zant's "At My Window" album, like every time I come back from a gig at night, and just it's timed pretty perfectly usually that by the last track, the Catfish song, I'm pulling in. So it's like, I don't know, some albums are just very comforting.
Yeah, sure.
I love CDs.
Let's do one more.
Sure.
And we'll close up.
Cool.
Your choice. I know a lot of times people in the audience will, hey, play this, play that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just, I wish they would ask me more to play this because, man, I play it well.
Can I do a cover?
Of course.
Cool.
Do whatever you want. This is your episode, man.
I'm doing a gospel song then.
Okay.
Checkaroo, checkaroo. We're gonna do a Johnny Cash song real quick called "I Was There When It Happened." There are some people who say we cannot tell whether we are saved or whether all is well. They say we only can hope and trust that it is so. Well, I was there when it happened, and so I guess I ought to know. Yes, I know when Jesus saved me, the very moment he forgave me, he took away my heavy burdens. Lord, he gave me peace within. Satan can't make me doubt it. He's real and I'm gonna shout it. Well, I was there when it happened, and so I guess I ought to know. Come on now. I don't care who tells me salvation is not real, though the world may argue that we cannot feel the heavy burdens lifted and the vile sins go. Well, I was there when it happened, and so I guess I ought to know. Yes, I know when Jesus saved me, the very moment he forgave me, he took away my heavy burdens. Lord, he gave me peace within. Satan can't make me doubt it. He's real and I'm gonna shout it. Well, I was there when it happened, and so I guess I ought to know.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That reminds me a little bit of in the movie Elvis. No, this is the Johnny Cash movie. I guess Walk the Line.
Yeah.
Where they're like playing some gospel song. And the guy's like, no, he just stops.
He's all, that's
like,
not good. Yeah.
That's not good, man. Like, I want you to really feel it, you know? And whether those scenes are really true or not, it's just been Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of interesting when the guy's like, no, stop. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's when he sings Folsom Prison Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Any final shout-outs?
Shout out to my beautiful wife, Katie, and my family for putting up with me, and all the people that put money in my case around Huntsville and tip me at bars and all that. Love you guys. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you for the life I get to lead because of y'all. So, yeah.
You weren't at the farmer's market recently, were you?
No, sir.
Okay. I was at this farmer's market on Saturday, and I'm like, I don't think that's Tim. But maybe it is.
I'm trying to, but I don't think I played any farmers market recently.
It was hot. I don't know if you want to be. Well, obviously you're used to playing outside, but it was a
Trying
really
to
hot
get used,
Saturday
yeah.
morning.
Alabama's a little warmer than Wyoming.
Well, hey man, all the best. I definitely want to have you back. I want all my guests to come back.
For
'Cause
sure,
I
yeah. You let me know.
I want to get updates and all that, and I will come see you. Where are you gonna be specifically playing today?
Today I will be downtown, probably the square on the courthouse area, from about 5 to 8,
5
maybe
to 8.
6 to 9, something. Seems like people come out at 6 more.
Okay.
It's hot at 5, so
Yeah, gotcha. All right. Well, hey, all the best to you.
thank you so much.
Say
for
hi
having
to
me.
Katie. I've
Appreciate
never
it.
met her, but happy for you. It was
Thank
fun.
you.
It was fun doing research on you, man. And congrats and hats off to where you are in your life right now, and the path you have ahead.
Thank you so
It's
much.
exciting.
Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.